Yeah, I'd like to start off by saying that I have nothing against computers. I use computers all the time myself. Digital technology is wonderful for what it does. It's not digital versus analog. It's that digital is good for some things and analog is good for other things. More and more, when people listen to music, they do it alone. When people play music, they do it alone. It's the wrong direction, I think, for music. It's good to have high-quality recorded music, but it's essential, absolutely essential, that we use music for the way it's been traditionally used for 10,000 years, and that is to bring people together into a community of listeners and musicians.
When I first started making music, it was groups like, let's say, Queen, soul groups like the Gladys Knight and the Pips. Janet Jackson was big with her groups. Of course, it was Rick James. And then all of a sudden comes guys like, Soul Sonic Force. And then there's Juan Atkins from Cybertron. And there's the Detroit techno sound. There's the Chicago house music movement. And all of a sudden, all those guys are out. The other guys. This electronic shit just changed the whole thing overnight.
Sun Ra influenced George Clinton, from what I understand. And I'm sure Miles and Coltrane has some influence on Sly Stone, who was also another influence for George Clinton. George Clinton really directly influenced what we did.
Or you want me to say it here? There are certain styles of music that make you think more about music than others. Like, for instance, jazz music. So you have to connect on another level, which is the instrumentation and the improvisation of the music and stuff like that. Same with electronic music in a sense, but people usually connect on that level and get their appreciation from our music on that level and not really from the
Most of the producers in Detroit didn't have the money for the bigger studios, so we kind of came up with our own sound and our own feelings through individual machines and units. The big studios kind of heard the sound and kind of used it to their advantage.
I think the guys from Detroit are like Jedi Knights, period. I think that the whole Detroit music scene is like an episode of Star Wars. It's like these guys live on this far and away planet alone, and all they do, they're like these overlords, these masters. All they do is make this music. That's what they do all their days, all their nights. They breathe this music, they live this music.
The Trésor came in the right moment, at the right time, and with the right content.
Back in 1990, a DJ couldn't even play a whole DJ set just with techno records because there weren't enough records.
The content was techno from Detroit, fresh. The time was the days when the wall came down. The frame of the atmosphere in Berlin was amazing. People were happy about this new freedom.
And it was only a year later that people had complete techno sets, or that people were beginning to have trance, or then drum and bass and gabba. So everything was changing very fast.
When techno started in Detroit and Berlin, it was a really small scene, and it was really the attitude of punk music, basically. It was really like a big fuck off. We do the music we like and we rock it and we rave or whatever. And everyone who says I play techno music, it's sometimes I miss the attitude.
When I started making music, it was like the height of like minimal techno. Everything was pretty fast, kind of weird, very druggy.
For
15 years, it was a kind of beat competition. The one who will be able to have the more powerful beat, the more compressed and fat beat.
I think things have gotten slower, and more kind of emotional, and slightly more honest. I think it's a really good time for music right now.
The kids, the clever kids, they are not competing anymore with to do the really fat beat, but they are trying to look after something else.
At the time, techno or house, where everybody was laughing about it, like, oh, it's stupid music for stupid people, or every segregation you can think of. And now every kid is listening to house and techno on an MP3 player, or every store you go, it's house and techno. So I think that's what has changed. We went from fighting for a movement to fighting for the real underground to exist in the sea of different stuff.
Las cosas más gordas que hay, pues Madonna, Lady Gaga, todo eso en realidad es música electrónica, lo mires como lo mires. O sea, lo que está haciendo ahora Lady Gaga hace 15 o menos, 10 años, lo hubiera sacado DIvergences en Gigolo Records y la gente hubiera flipado.
Lo que antiguamente era más underground, ahora es el mismo género underground que mueve festivales de 20, 30, 40 mil personas, ofertas de dinero que casi cobran más que bandas de rock.
Everybody wants to be DJ, like everybody wants to be a model and everybody wants to be fashion.
When I was growing up, like, DJs were fools who used to talk on the microphone, you know, it wasn't anything to aspire to. We never ever aspired to being DJs.
It's incredible that everyone wants to become a DJ now, where at the beginning, you know, DJs wasn't respected by what we did as artists. You know, we just played other people's music, got drunk, and therefore, you know, was just doing it for the beer.
Hoy, para los jóvenes, el DJ es MTV, el DJ es la radio, el DJ es la mano arriba, el DJ son las chicas, el Ferrari. Es como lo que solía ser para nosotros el hip hop, una cosa así.
Por un lado, creo que los clubes se han comercializado más. En muchos aspectos también, creo que en pocos lados se ha dado. Creo que para ir en Alemania o en Inglaterra, en ciertos lados de Estados Unidos, se ha dado la situación donde los dueños de los clubes realmente son fanáticos y cultores de la música, con lo cual crearon un equipo y una estructura para sostener los contenidos que estaban tratando de vender.
In Europe, this is very much a part of the culture, and it's very much been accepted for a long time. I mean, you have the government subsidizes clubs, they subsidize programs, different cities, you know, throw cultural events, but in the States, this is completely underground still. I mean, you have a few clubs that push it, but we struggle in the States for this music.
The whole industry has become more, like, much more professional. Like, everything's more organized.
What I really like, there are still a lot of underground parties, especially here in Berlin, and that's what I love, and so the spirit is not gone.
I know the whole club scene have changed a lot. Of course it's changed. House music and techno music is 25 years old. You know, you can't expect to be the same today. Everybody knows about techno now. I attract now kids of my friends. It's scary.
I think it's very interesting today to see the renaissance of classic house or classic techno. Everybody today is trying to imitate the roots, or there's actually a style of copying early Chicago records or early Detroit records.
La ruleta sigue girando igual que ha girado siempre, y siempre se vuelve a mirar atrás a los estilos de los orígenes, ya sea Kraftwerk, sea el electro de Detroit de los 80, como está pasando mucho hoy en día.
Detroit's a city, and techno is a style of electronic music. People say, oh, I make Detroit techno. What's that? it's a package now.
Some of the originators of techno music from Detroit or from other places around still have a big impact, but I don't think that they are still as important as they were. I mean, a lot of people are growing up now and they have a new set of references or other people that are important to them.
Finally, now electronic musicians are variations not only of Derek May or early Plastic Men, but also of Pink Floyd, you know, or anything else. Like, why doesn't it doesn't have to stay in one category?
Ahora realmente no hay fronteras. De hecho es muy difícil definir qué hacen ahora muchas bandas en directo, que es una mezcla de pop, electro, con a veces unas guitarras.
Hay una confusión grandísima y todo por un afán de etiquetar todos los estilos, de etiquetar todas las sesiones, de etiquetar todos los garitos. La electrónica, el techno, el house, todo abarca una gran fusión y más en los tiempos que corren, que es todo parte de la fusión.
En el sentido de la producción, de lo que es producción, desde luego la ha empapado todo absolutamente y prácticamente no se realizan discos ni siquiera en el rock que no tengan componentes electrónicos. Ahora bien, lo que es la música electrónica pura y dura, yo llevo años echando en falta más novedad.
El estilo de música que más me llamó la atención fue la música electrónica por las infinitas posibilidades de poder moldear el sonido y crear sonidos nuevos. Este proyecto con Vanessa Wagner, trabajar con el piano, pues es una continuación de esa exploración de la música electrónica y la música clásica, que ya he venido trabajando ya desde hace tiempo. Con las herramientas electrónicas, los efectos, los plugins y diferentes programas para alterar el sonido, con eso es como una llave para abrir el sonido acústico y ¡pum!
La tecnología, sea digital o sea de cualquier tipo, yo la valoro como algo natural, ¿no? que surge, evoluciona, se introduce en nuestro día a día. Y evidentemente esto no podía pasar por alto por el hecho de la creación, con lo cual aparecen una serie de herramientas que yo creo que favorecen que los creadores tengan una serie de oportunidades nuevas de investigar con su trabajo. Todo aquello que, digamos, agite un poco el día a día, las maneras de trabajar, provoque cambios, signifique revisar cómo hacemos las cosas, dé oportunidad a otra gente, transforme de alguna manera las reglas del juego, bienvenido sea.
En el momento que se utiliza la electrónica, creo que no nos conformamos con lo mismo de siempre, más de 6 meses. Hay una constante evolución y eso se demuestra en la música electrónica. Aunque creo que el concepto fundamental sigue siendo lo mismo, que es hacer música con máquinas.
For me, digital technology really opened the doors to stepping into being a real producer and not just a guy with a toy, but really taking it seriously, because I really never believed that I had any contribution that I could make.
I would say that I wouldn't be here without digital technology, because I started producing just digitally, made my first steps just digitally.
When Ableton came, it was like this easy to do a sketch, to produce something easy, send it over, come back. It was that easy to time stretch, to sample things, to remix things. It was a revolution.
Mi perfil como DJ, lo que me caracteriza como DJ, mi manera de mezclar no ha cambiado mucho realmente con
con el hecho de haber cambiado mi herramienta para pinchar.
You can just think more about phrasing and the musicality of the music instead of, oh my god, these 2 records are on beat, quick, bring it over, well it's still on beat, you know, then that's not really music, that's just trying to keep everything together on tempo.
Al fin y al cabo se trata de obtener resultados, y si esto es algo que me aporta resultados, me divierte, es otro concepto, y sobre todo puedo disfrutar de poner mucho material al que puedo tener acceso por el hecho de estar pinchando en digital.
I mean, I was more younger and more inspired, of course, like working with these different analog gear, plugging these wires.
Since I've gone digital with Ableton, I've actually been able to make a lot more music. Because before, when you used to use hardware, you have you take mixing desks, on a 24-track Tascam, and you have all your analog stuff. Once you're working on something and you want to take a break, you can't really work on something else because a lot of these machines, they don't have memory.
I mean, I would spend half of the time plugging wires and making sure that the drum machine synced up with the keyboard, and man, it's a nightmare when that stuff didn't work.
People have been using computers and digital for a long time. And I mean, in the high-end studios, people could afford it, sure, but I couldn't afford it.
And I remember the first show I played in Berlin. I don't know when that was, a long time ago, after my first album. And the people were like, wow, only 1 laptop. All this, it's crazy. And you just imagine how that changed, now it's like, only 1 laptop.
And then now, for the first time, digital, in my mind, is actually sounding like I can't hear the difference between when I record on my sound card and listen back.
There are some really decent, really nice music software that's out there. So what I usually do is to make it sound less digital is come out of the computer and go into my tube compressor or analog EQ and then fatten it up, the bass or whatever, and then go back into the computer.
When I see people using technology, I sort of feel slightly jealous in a way that I can't get my head around it. But I also know that it wouldn't be for me. It's just it's too much to concentrate on, and it's taking you away from the music.
A lot of people could label me with being a purist and this kind of traditionalist in some sense, but that's not true. The reason I use vinyl is because that's what I learned on. That's where I come from. It's not like I choose vinyl. This is what I understand and what I work with.
I used to work in a record store for 14 years, so it's in my blood. I just can't DJ with a computer. And more importantly, it gives me a tangible product to sell. I mean, if I would just release music on MP3s, I would be competing in a market of over 40,000 digital releases per week.
There's nothing better in my book than riding those 2 records on top of each other. But when you've got them in time and you know that they're in tune, you know that they're tight and this is the correct context to play them in, and you bring that in, I can't get that feeling from playing CDs, and I certainly don't think I could ever get that feeling from selecting a file.
But I think that there is a place for digital, and for example, a lot of people couldn't even really tour and do live sets because it'd be too expensive to bring vintage gear abroad, risk it getting broken, risk it getting damaged, risk it getting stolen.
Wow. This is your hotel?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't travel with my vinyl no more because it gets scratched up in baggage claim.
And in the old days, that was okay because people would press up 20,000 or more copies of a record. But now, vinyl, somebody press up 300 copies. So if you scratch your vinyl now, it's over forever. You know, no more vinyl. And that's, you know, I can't have my record scratched up, man.
El mayor problema es que la gente que usa el ordenador para pinchar no pincha en WAV, sino que la calidad de su música está en MP3, con un poco de suerte a 320, pero mucha gente incluso menor. A la hora de escuchar en una discoteca realmente pierdes pues, del punch, del bajo, muchas frecuencias que no puedes oír pero que sí que notas.
I think the main reason when you go out is to go out and enjoy yourself. And I think when you're in the middle of the dance floor, if the DJ plays a CD or vinyl or an MP3 or whatever, if the song is right, nobody cares on what he's playing it. Now I think there's a lot of really super boring DJs that still play vinyl, and they play music like they would cut somebody's hair or serve some food in a restaurant. But then on the other side, you have a lot of DJs which are playing formats from now, which would be, you know, either through Final Scratch or playing CDs or playing whatever. But those guys work hard.
The whole digital revolution has also a very, very good side to it, of course, because now it's affordable for everybody. Nobody needs to be with rich parents to be able to buy stuff.
I think that what's happened lately is that people who mostly are analphabets, uneducated music makers, are able to go and put themselves on a stage and decide that they are music makers. So in a sense, the virtuosity and the creativity of the musicians is not so much translated into the public. That creativity and virtuosity is just migrated to the instrument makers and the software designers. Those are the new musicians today.
I don't really like telling somebody that they can't be a DJ, or, you know, everybody can be a DJ. You know, whether they could be a good DJ is a different story, but give everybody a chance, you know? And if they're good, they're good. If they're bad, they're bad.
I don't like the idea that you like to be a DJ. You don't have the skills. So what do? You buy this machine that auto-syncs the thing, and then you can say, I'm a DJ. If you are a DJ, you have to know the basics. And I mean, the basics is just 2 turntables and a mixer.
I'm not averse by using the sync button at all, but I mean, my craft and my DJing abilities all came from basically mixing records together and understanding the ethos of mixing music from a DJ's turntable point of view, and that's enabled me to basically go into this new arena.
But it's very hard to generalize and to say, hey, these people are not cool and they are, just because they play different formats or different media. And I don't believe in that.
What hurts me is when I see them with just a computer, a remote control, they don't even use the pitch, and they don't even have a pair of headphones. That for me is shit. This is for me is the line where I go, fuck you. For me, that's not DJing. That's not the right thing.
The great thing about digital is that it's very accurate. The bad thing about digital is that it's very accurate.
there's no creativity if you just letting the record sink and you're just choosing records.
En cualquier oficio hay una manera en la que se aprende a hacer las cosas, se desarrollan y luego se perfeccionan. Entonces, con todo esto nuevo digital, ese camino no se anda. Directamente se va al resultado.
Techno, technology, use it. No, it's electronic music, art form. Make something creative.
For me, it's never the question if the technology is taking us in the wrong direction. If it does, then for sure in a few years there will be something happening that will make us change that again. That's the way the world works.
I think it has a lot to do with people kind of forgetting the fact that they're using computers and just using technology as just another instrument. You know, it's not craft work anymore.
The really important aspects of DJing go much deeper than the surface of the way that you deliver the music, and people get obsessed by the way that the music's delivered.
There's no way of saying to make good tracks you should do this. It's just, you know, it's very much a personal thing and whatever you feel happy with and comfortable with. But yeah, you also need to challenge yourself
Yeah,
again.
absolutely.
Are you playing or is the computer playing? The computer, you buy it, you download all this stuff, you put it in the computer. So the computer is the guy carrying the records. The computer is the guy making the beats, the records work, and you are basically assisting the computer. The computer is doing the work. You're standing there.
We're all using machines to create an idea and create an experience for people. And the idea will never come from the machine. The idea will come from the person behind the machine. The machine does not matter. The machine does not make the decisions. The machine does not say, now is the moment that people need to hear this. Now is the moment to take the bass out. Now is the moment to really take people to somewhere else. The machine will never remember that the record you're playing touched people's hearts 20 years ago, and when you bring that record in, that they will go someplace totally new and feel an emotion and a passion that they didn't remember for 20 years since.
Stop is passenger terminal.
The next phase came with the digital online shops that kind of affected everything. I mean, Beatports, Traxsource, Jujuno, with this sort of monopoly type mentality of trying to get everybody to do exclusives.
The Internet 2.0 in the end is all about community, all about ranking, all about things that are popular. And therefore the filter is not some critic guy who says, no, this is future, this is interesting, but whoever gets more clicks, whoever gets more likes, whoever is more popular, whoever can manage himself more or better.
La gente tiene el síndrome de Diógenes, pero en vez de coleccionar objetos gratuitos, es decir, objetos tirados en la calle, lo que hace es coleccionar canciones gratuitas bajadas de internet. en donde lo importante no es tanto la calidad de todo lo que consiguen, sino la cantidad de lo que consiguen.
All the society is based on the consumption. So this is true for music, but this is true for everything. This is the way of the society, the capitalism and everything educate us.
For somebody creative, I think it's good. But a lot of people only look on Beatport in the first page and the top 10 releases and they don't go dig. It's just like being in a record store. I mean, you have to take the time to go further, explore an artist, and when you see that artist, you see that somebody did a remix for them and you go, oh, let me look up that person's stuff.
The question is the quality still that good?
They're coming every week, comes records who I'm interested in and who I like.
Music everywhere, but very few really good things with quality or with potential.
If I don't feel it, or if I don't like the records who are coming each week, it was the wrong job to do.
Like too much information, you really have to find your own filters, kind of. And that's not so easy nowadays.
There's nobody who can filter it for you, and if you want to filter, then it takes up all of your time. And so when you dig enough and when you look enough, then I think there has never been a more creative time than this.
In order to find what's really authentic, it's a job, you know. It's not just, you know, it doesn't happen like this, you know.
Some labels, they don't even master the tracks anymore.
I'm a good producer, I make some records, and if you don't have a record label, you can find a record label. You set it up, you start a record label.
First, there are too many producers. Producers now, they produce so much that they don't even know why they produce so much. For me, from being from Detroit, we produce when we feel the vibe. We produce because we feel inspiration. We don't produce just because we want to produce a record.
Me ha pasado muchas veces que me mandan demo y de 10 canciones hay 2 buenas y hay 8 que no es que sean buenas o malas, sino que son totalmente, pero distintas, como que casi te imaginas que es alguien más que las compuso.
Very, very little innovation, and lots of people who make a record these days listen to an old record and they almost copy the same record and they think it doesn't make it. It's not a problem because the other record is 10 years old or whatever.
I have an old school ear. I hear loops, 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 loops. And I'm bored to death of it.
I think really DJs have to work out whether they want to be DJs or artists. You know, if you want to be an artist, it's one thing. If you want to be a DJ, it's another.
And when I hear original keyboard sound, or a sound or sequence that I never heard before, I'm like, wow.
Aspiring to being a DJ for me is something that would make me cry into the pillow, I think.
There's still music from the early 90s that really catches me, and I have a vision of the future. Nowadays you have also feelings like that when you're listening to music and you think, how they did it, it's unbelievable. And if you have these moments, it's still going.
Es Carl Cox pinchando en los estudios de Ibiza Sónica en este martes 24 de julio. Como siempre, un placer recibir al buen amigo Carl Cox.
Records that are coming now won't become classics in the next 10 years. They'll just be things that happened, and therefore everyone moves on so quickly. Nothing gets a chance to settle or become those potential classics anymore. And this is where, you know, a lot of the people now are not going to record stores. They're buying online, they're sharing all the files of music, and if it's hit, okay, fine. If it's not, everyone moves on real quickly.
You don't have any real connection to the music anymore. I used to know every groove in a record, you know, because I used to play my records over and over again and buy a few new records every week. So that way you could really, you know, do the best sets.
I don't think that music is the same focal point and has as much interest today as it did to people 30 years ago, because 30 years ago they didn't have computer games, they didn't have internet, they didn't have so many other things that is taking their interest away and changing the way their life is.
The people still love the music. Some people buy it from digital, a lot of people download it for free, but for the people like myself who are really into it, you know, hardcore music lovers, we still love our local record shop, and this is very important to us, so this part will never die. It can't get smaller, it can only get bigger.
I'm not against technology, I'm not against progress, but somehow we need to find a way to bring the people that know, you know, all the gurus that have been working and buying music for ages to be connected with the young generations.
I like the way it is. I like going into record shops. I feel like buying music on the internet is like drinking at home. It's nice to drink in pubs, you know. You need to go to record shops.
I have to say I enjoy so much to buy digital because I am the filter and nobody is filtering the records before they come in the record shop.
At the same time, there was so much else that was coming out, so it was limited to what your distributors got. So if you were in the US and your distributors got only a certain variety of records, that's all you knew and that's all you were going to get into your record store.
It's harder than you think to do worldwide distribution of a physical product these days. The distributors dropping like flies, the manufacturers are dropping like flies. So that some of the stuff that's difficult is logistical.
Now the options have become very limited. There's very few shops selling keyboards, like there's very few shops selling vinyl records. So people don't have the option to grow up with choices, which is what I had.
I already see a lot of DJs that are going back to vinyl. They've had enough of looking for files on their laptops and they're going back to vinyl, or you see live acts that suddenly say, hey, we are playing only hardware live act. Like it's something really special these days.
So here in our mastering studio, we specialize in analog mastering, digital finalizing, and transferring your music from the digital realm to master plate for vinyl manufacturing. All right, so the groove is looking good. The heat's on, the suction's on, the helium's on, the audio's ready, the amplifier is engaged. And let's do a little test cut here.
We receive here digital files with high resolution, put it on the computer, and the computer gives the audio signal digital to this amplifier rack.
You know, we're mastering engineers. We're not magicians. We can't take something that isn't mixed well and just make it sound amazing. That's not our job. Our mastering is only as good as the producer's mix down and rendering. So it's super important that newer producers really, you know, educate themselves and pay attention to how they're mixing their music.
We are still producing vinyl. When you produce something, you have to hold it, you have to touch it in your hand. That's why I would never produce something which goes just on a digital label, you know? I need the two forms.
You know, you can download the CD, get scratched, you can throw it away, you can download it. But when you buy a record, it is, not only is it personal, It's a commitment. This is a piece of art. It's special, and you cannot just scratch it and throw it away. You gotta find another one.
I don't play vinyl, I'm not a DJ, I don't give a fuck. But for me personally, if I get vinyl, that means my record, my song is on a record, not on a digital file. Whoever keeps me dancing on the dance floor is a good DJ, and for me it's not about mixing skills or vinyl versus digital, it's the choice of music.
And for the record, MP3s did not kill vinyl. MP3s killed CDs.
I come from a generation where being a DJ, playing music, is a long-term thing. You usually go to a club at the beginning and you do the whole night.
There would be one DJ for a club. It would be his club, and he would play all night. Now, you have 3, 4, even 5 DJs in the night, and all of them play like 1 or 2 hours.
And then after 2 hours, they're just absolutely drenched and finished. They're tired and they don't have enough records. That shocks me. That shocks me a lot because I cannot go to a club and not express myself.
DJs playing live. What is live? I don't know.
Before I started electronic music, I played live in a band, and that was a live act. That was playing live. And since then, I'm kind of done with it. I think electronic music and live is kind of a tricky thing.
I'm not sure about the fact what is live.
To me, what makes the live set interesting is when there's an element that it can mess up. You know, that's the problem with Ableton and a lot of those live sets. It's too perfect. It's just everything's too put together, too in sync. A real live set to me, just like a real DJ set, can go wrong at any moment, and that's what gives it that real energy, and that's what gives it that life.
Tú con un ordenador escupes los temas de forma continua, están sincronizados y puedes, lo que en un principio utilizabas para hacerlo con tus propios temas, ahora se ha extendido a hacerlo con todo tipo de temas. Entonces se ha convertido en un DJ set.
When is DJ live playing? You know it? What's your answer about it?
Just playing your own music on the run, you know, not pre-programmed and composing it on the fly. That is alive.
So the live is much more complicated in a way because it's your own sounds and you make the structure indirect. And the more I was doing the live and the more I had fun in this way because it was a danger. It was more dangerous than the DJ set in a way.
De un disc jockey sé lo que puedo esperar y lo que no, pero de un directo me gusta ver un trabajo encima de un escenario y desde luego por experiencia hasta ahora de ver una persona detrás de un laptop, poco esfuerzo, poco directo. Creo que teníamos que cambiar la palabra y llamarlo de otra manera.
First and foremost, absolutely, it's all about the music.
Para mí ya no es tanto el formato en sí o la discusión del formato, sino lo que uno busca al contar cuando está haciendo una sesión.
The most important things is choice of records, and even more important than that is sense of timing.
Second of all, I think sincerity or authenticity.
You can have great records, and if you put them in the wrong order, then it's a shitty set. And you can have the best technique in the world, but if you play boring records, it's still a shitty set.
And after that comes things like whether you're actually good, like skills, or if people are coming for you.
You work with people, it's a really good roller coaster ride. It's a really, life is a roller coaster in general. I think music should be a roller coaster. I think music should go up and down. And a lot of DJs now, 99% of them or 95% of them, play a song that goes well with another song because it's the same style and it's gonna work.
Tú cuando ibas a ver a un DJ te quedabas alucinado porque no conocías ni la mitad de los temas que estaba pinchando.
Sometimes it does get monotonous if you're listening to the same sound all the time. If it's that type of environment, yes, it can also work.
Hoy en día la verdad que muchas veces estoy escuchando uno de estos mega DJs y estoy diciendo vaya mierda de música está poniendo.
I personally remember Francois Kevorkian one night in Cielo. He was playing hip-hop music, a track from Laurent Garnier, and then some soul and funk later, and it was such a wonderful mix, and it was so fluid, and everything came together.
I hate it when people tell me or tell others like, DJs should entertain people. I hate it, I always say like, fuck that shit, If you want to entertain someone, you should go work in a circus, put a red nose on, and you're a clown. That's when you're an entertainer.
For instance, you go to the toilet and you come back in 10 minutes and then you got the feeling, God, I missed something. That's a good DJ.
Yeah, I always used to say like, my soul is your entertainment, Because of course it's entertainment in a way, but the crowd isn't, the crowd doesn't rule. You're the DJ, you decide.
To me, it's all about relating to people. It's about communicating something to the crowd, giving them energy, giving them excitement, surprises, new ideas, inspiration, or giving them some crazy experience to take them out of their heads to another place when they're trying to escape.
Okay, now I dropped this and you didn't expect this kind of track, and suddenly you get goosebumps and you think, wow, this is what I needed, and how did he know that? Because I did not even know it.
I'm a true believer that the DJ should educate the crowd within their genre and to interpret the feeling of energy and panic and passion from behind the turntables direct straight to the dance floor. It's kind of like a hypodermic needle from standing behind those turntables and plugging straight into the people on the dance floor and to really, really, truly feel it in every way whatsoever. But that doesn't mean that, I should think they're going in this direction, I should maybe play more vocals and more housey, that's what they want. No, it's to stay within the confinements of what you truly believe in and what your passion is, and still to be able to bend and direct the crowd.
Antiguamente la gente volaban. La gente podía volar con el poder del sonido, el sonido sonoro, el mantra. La gente se sentaron en una pico de una montaña, encima de un cuadro de piedra, y pronunciaron unas mantras. La piedra se levantó y ido hasta otra montaña, y ahí se sentó.
We're like a species here that needs to reach a certain level of we need to ascend to a certain level of kind of consciousness, and then we can enter the kind of intergalactic community. That's my belief. But right now we're in a kind of funny stage where if we don't enter it within time, then we'll be lost, Or the people or the species or the beings who put us here in the first place they'll come back and then we're lost, you know?
Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama.
Después de muchos años en que el DJ se ha convertido en una especie de rey de la escena musical, ha ido poco a poco ocupando un lugar más razonable y vuelve a ser más interesante para la audiencia, para los artistas, el hecho de plantearse el espectáculo en vivo.
Muchos DJs ahora tienen que tener un show, un live show, que normalmente viene con visuales, con un poco de producción para hacerlo un poco más interesante visualmente.
La gente busca algo más. Veo que la gente, que el promotor paga mucho dinero por el DJ y creo que la gente se está dando cuenta de que no es solo el DJ, es más la fiesta, la gente, todo. Es todo en conjunto.
Lo que pasa, por ejemplo, aquí en Ibiza o hoy en día en muchos otros sitios es que los clubs se centran más en el espectáculo, en las chispas, en las gogos, en las mujeres, en que te vean, en que el ambiente sea cool, digamos, ¿no? Y la música de alguna manera es algo que entra en segundo plano alrededor de eso.
Un artista se cansa de pinchar, de hacer siempre lo mismo, tiene que dar un paso, y para hacer un paso a este nivel, a nivel de gran formato, tienes que hacer shows, luces, simplemente es ofrecer al público algo diferente que lo que hacen los otros 5.000 DJs que tienes detrás empujando para ser alguien.
The problem is a lot of DJs are being judged by the amount of party they can make with the techno music.
Damn, I'm supposed to be getting these fucking things up. Such language.
I prefer music to be creative and inspiring instead of being functional. And there's a lot of music which is just being made as purpose to get a party started.
Most people who come to clubs honestly have less of a concept about the music. They're interested in the experience, you know? When you go to Disney World, okay, you might want to see Mickey Mouse, but you see Mickey Mouse for 30 seconds. The rest of it is Disney World. And that's what a club is. You know, a club is like a subculture of Disney World. People don't come all the time for the DJ. They come for drinking, maybe there's some drugs, there's some girls, there's, you know, guys for the girls, whatever.
Estamos en el show business, ¿no? Yo creo que estamos aquí, no estamos aquí para culturizar a la gente lo que quiere es fiesta y se lo quiere pasar bien.
Yo creo que simplemente la cosa está dividida como ha estado siempre, ¿no? Que hay gente que va a los clubs y en el mundo de los clubs pues hay gente que va porque es la fiesta y punto, y hay otra gente que va realmente por la música, ¿no?
Durante estos años como el público ha perdido educación o la paciencia a la hora de estar en un club. O sea, la gente está esperando continuamente el efectismo, el subidón continuo, los efectos, etcétera, 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 y no tienen la paciencia de escuchar una sesión, digamos, ¿no? Y dejarse llevar un poco por el disc jockey.
Of course, there's a lot of very educated people in the audience, but very often, and I noticed that, you know, like if you go to clubs and you do some investigation and you talk to people, hey, why are you here? Yeah, I don't know who's playing, but it's supposed to be cool here, blah blah blah. And as an artist, as someone who makes music, this is not the situation you want to be involved with. If it's like, it really doesn't matter as long as it's, and that's what makes everything a little, what took the magic away a little bit.
for the general public, somebody that make a track in 5 minutes by putting 3 loops together, and a guy that worked his whole life learning piano, learning how to make music, and put his heart into it, and it's gonna work like 2 months on the track. For the general public, there's no difference. It's the same thing.
Years ago, it was all about the DJ playing the music. It wasn't about 50 people around the DJ booth. It wasn't about girls coming up with their short skirts and, you know, doing their thing. It was about the music. That's one thing that we have lost when it comes to our music and the DJs and the inspirations that we've given to the crowd.
Back in the 90s, I think you could be the most ugly guy on the planet, and actually, if you were really talented with electronic music, you could become like extremely famous, you know. Today, you need to have the tattoos, you need to have like the good outfit, you need to be like a DJ moving, shouting, putting your hands in the air.
It's a new generation, I understand that, but at the same time, we have to understand where the basics of our scene came from, and it came from making the music first, not the DJ. The DJ was just a tool to take the music to the next level.
Está el mundo del entertainment, que es importante, está el disc jockey, que es muy activo a la hora de ejecutar su performance, que de hecho pues monta espectáculo, y donde la música pues quizá tiene un grado de importancia algo menor, y está el tipo completamente pasivo que se dedica a poner un musicón y que el discurso va a través de lo que está poniendo, no de sus movimientos ni de su vestimenta. Entonces creo que hay dos puntos: está el disc jockey underground, que se mantiene desde el punto de vista underground y que cuanto menos marketing lleve asociado, más éxito va a tener, y está todo lo contrario, está el que necesita una campaña de marketing y un montón de millones a su alrededor para triunfar. América está pisando fuerte en este sentido.
Well, you know, underground is a phrase which has been used so much over the last 20 years. And I think it's a bit of a hollow phrase. It doesn't mean much anymore.
It's awesome when a local guy brings you his test press. It takes a lot of balls to go up to a DJ and give it to the guy, and you don't ask him to play it. You just hope that one day he will play it. Because of this gesture, people have gravitated to Just Ed or underground quality because we care.
Creo que ya hoy en día el underground es otra estrategia de marketing más, ¿no?
I mean, let's say for the house and the techno, I think it's very difficult to say nowadays what is really underground.
Para mí lo verdaderamente underground ahora es muy underground. Gente que está fabricando 200, 150 discos.
It's about musical compromise. I feel if an artist is at any point playing kind of futurist music and playing music that's really both experimental with sound and idea, then that is underground culture. If they can achieve some sort of a success with that and still stay true to themselves artistically, then they are not mainstream or selling out. You know, they've just become a mainstream artist because they've had commercial success.
I have no issue with people making money and they're making underground music. I just have people that don't make proper music, that make crap music, that make a lot of money.
When I used to hustle back in the day, the quickest way to get dead is try to sell your product on a block that's already booming. The best thing to do is find a place in between two hot blocks and just give a sample to people as they go by. And you just give it to them and see if they like it. That's how I did my music. I found a spot where I'm not a threat to anybody. And for years, for like 4 or 5 years, I gave out over 10,000 mix CDs. Hand over hand in 4 years.
You become commercial when you sell out and you stay to a certain sound that you know that it's like a formula, and once you get caught in the formula, that's like this on this commercial level, that's when you're a sellout.
Esto ha ido evolucionando, cada artista ha hecho un cambio bastante importante, no voy a decir nombres, pero bueno, hay artistas que evidentemente les apetece pinchar en vez de para 200 personas y hacer una cosa un poco freak para 15.000, y evidentemente es su trabajo, están remunerados por ello y tienen que evolucionar.
Hay un montón de artistas que han desdoblado su camino inicial, en el que les importaba desarrollar una música, les importaba que llegara su mensaje y la gente se enterara de lo que estaban haciendo. Todo eso lo han dejado para nada más que dedicarse al dinero.
If you have money, you get your song played on the radio. The problem is nobody wants to risk their money, so they do safe music.
Tú conseguirás un lleno en una sala de 5.000 personas si traes a uno de los DJs más caros del mundo, pero no si traes a uno de los mejores. Si traes a uno de los mejores, que no tiene nada que ver su precio, no conseguirás el mismo efecto.
Aujourd'hui, d'une certaine manière, la musique électronique, elle est partout. C'est vrai que par son aspect mainstream, avec des gens comme David Guetta, Skrillex, Bob Sinclair, Avicii, Deadmau5 et tout ça, il y a une sorte d'uniformisation de ce qu'on appelle la musique électronique.
Por supuesto están los 20-30 DJs a nivel mundial, que son los que mueven dinero y mueven gente, pero después está la gran masa de DJs que todo el mundo pinche, todo el mundo es DJ, y que esos no hacen que te llene la sala o no hacen mover 1000 personas más. Esos hacen que escuches buena música o que tengas mejor o peor ambiente en la sala.
Quite a serious problem because we are still dealing with music business, and music business is not show-off business, it's music, you know. And this is why today you get a lot of actually producers who are not actually music composers. They don't actually do any music, but they are very famous DJs.
Hay ejemplos de, yo qué sé, de artistas de que han empezado de cero y que llevan 2 o 3 años pinchando y de repente están cobrando 80.000 euros. ¿Pero por qué? Porque están haciendo remezclas de Madonna, o porque William Morris los ha cogido y los ha mezclado con gente de Hollywood, están haciendo películas, y entonces eso los sube, los lanza y los propulsa, ¿sabes?
They are delivering this kind of, let's say, movement to a crowd who was listening to Rihanna in the morning, and they go to listen to, I don't know, Afrojack, David Guetta and all those guys in the evening.
Esta gente viene con un producto que dura 2 horas, que va embotellado, que ni siquiera te puedo garantizar que realmente estén pinchando, y ponen la misma música en el mismo orden. En la medio de la actuación levantan la mano en el momento exacto, hacen las visuales todo perfecto, todo milimetrado. Sí, lo ves una vez, sí, pero es un show, no es un disc jockey. Para mí un disc jockey es otra cosa.
Il y a toujours un public de connaisseurs qui va apprécier, qui va se rendre compte de ce que fait le DJ et du fait que ça n'a pas d'âme, un set qui est déjà préenregistré, mais beaucoup le font, et beaucoup le font aussi pour des lives. Donc c'est peut-être aujourd'hui aux médias de dénoncer un peu les imposteurs, on va dire.
whole dance industry is just a big market, I think billions a year. And everybody wants to get a little piece of this market, and that's the destroying factor on it.
Es un producto de marketing, es la oferta y la demanda, es como cualquier otro mercado.
So we have to get back to the underground, you have to get back into the whole scene and see what's going on over there and then build it up again.
The underground will survive. Underground will always stay alive, and that's from the underground. Some other kid, some other Skrillex, or some other Chesto, some other Richie Hawtin will make some music in their basement and find a new kind of music, a new kind of tweak soundy, and that gets evolved and it will be the new one.
There are some ideas, not just in music, but in all of culture, in all of humanity, some ideas keep coming back, and they come back through whatever the current language is. In the Western world, there's only 12 notes, you know? So in a way, every song has been done before. Every melody has been played sometime. But the ideas that come through in a new context, and every time the context changes, then the idea becomes new again.
I know there's crisis in the world right now. There's not a lot of money to go around, but I still feel that there's this vibe, there's this energy that people still enjoy a good party, and it's something you can't beat.
The world is in crisis in different ways maybe than people think we are in crisis. And music or art is always a reflection of society and of the world. So maybe electronic music isn't a crisis.
It's not in a crisis, it's the opposite. It's never been as big as it's now. It's a way of life, it's everywhere, and well, that wasn't the case in the 80s.
The biggest thing that we're facing now is to preserve the real foundations of what electronic music culture originally was for a new generation. That's quite important.
The principles of techno and electronic music, basically have been set in stone, but because of it's made by people and not machines, it's something that will change with the change of the people that make it.
There's still energy, and I think when you go to the right place with the right environment, it's still really good. I think we're still very lucky because after 25 years, for it to still be very healthy, and it's still places where it's amazing. Go to Panorama Bar, man. That's stunning. The Rex Club in Paris is still going, and we did the Fuse like 3 or 4 months ago in Brussels. Fucking unbelievable. You go to Tokyo, there's amazing places. We're still lucky. It's still happening. It's harder, it's smaller, right? It's different, but still there's some good shit.
Still alive.
Of course.
Watch out, 'cause I'm taking off in my spaceship. Well, farewell and lots of love in my spaceship. Yes, I've headed up to here. It's best to simply disappear. I will meet upon and decks in my spaceship. take a hollow to relax. In my spaceship, I'll shake hands with Miles O'Brien. Says my engine's doing fine. And to boldly go where no one's ever gone before. I'll just won't be back no more. Interstellar zoo in my spaceship, singing King Kong, having fun. Start a fight and then be gone.
No more lessons, no more work. From the beginning on, you mean? Well, and in the clubs, 25 years ago already. So you have all the hardware evolutions, and now you only need a laptop. You just need a laptop. Perhaps some effects, tweak their sound, make some effects, extend the track. But nowadays, yeah, just one bag with thousands of records on the laptop. The DJ was first, of course, a DJ somewhere behind the club, because now all the DJs are superstars or pretend to be superstars. Luggage, you know, 3 suitcases with the records, and always trouble with the turntables, always trouble with the mixers, and the needle was broken or had some distortion in it, and that was also kind of romantic kind of thing. And typically of those years, you know, the scratch of the needle on the record, and then it was a different movement in Berlin, in Germany, with Kraftwerk, touched by the other kind of music. So it got divided by different kind of music and influence from other countries. A part of the dance music started in America, in Detroit and Chicago. Down tempo, you need to be into the music, go crazy and go party. They evolved as well. They grew, changed during their 15 years or 20 years of career. John Digweed plays totally different than 10 years ago, Sasha as well. It grows really fast, it evolves. There's a lot of artists. It's easier for artists to make music.